Namaskar Friends, this is NJ, your host on this channel. In this video, we will have our discussion on a very important aspect of Vedic astrology, or I would say the soul of astrology, which is the D9 chart. So there is one very important aspect of D9 chart which many times we overlook in our analysis. So friends, in this video, I will try to bring light over that area, which is going to be the moon placement in your D9 chart. What could this placement indicate? What is going to be the impact of this placement, whether in your spiritual journey, whether in your matrimonial life? So all of that, friends, we will try to understand in this video. And like the way, friends, I always say this thing, it is an open community for learning Vedic astrology. So it's not like that whatsoever I'm saying over here, you have to actually believe it without any contradiction, without any own views of yours. So please feel free to supplement your views or contradict me if whatsoever I'm going to be explaining over here that is not finding resonance in your personal life or in the charts of your known people. So now, friends, to begin with, now whenever we talk about let's just try to understand these two parameters first. Now, what could be the importance of moon, first of all, to begin with? So definitely, friends, like moon's placement in our natal chart just tells about that in which specific area of life your emotions, your feelings, your mind is specifically attached. See, if you will try to learn astrology in a simpler way, it's not that complicated. The house tells about where, and the zodiac sign represents how. So in whichever house your moon is going to be placed, that is going to tell about that you are somehow attached with the signification of that house, and how you interpret that house, how you deal with that house, that is going to get determined on the basis of your moon sign. That is the only reason, friends, I always say this thing, like if you will find, for example, 7th house from the ascendant, because from the ascendant we get to know about the path or the life, physical tangible life of an individual. So if you will find 7th house, which is the prime house of marriage, if you will find 7th house to be very severely critically afflicted, so native might be in a very troubled marriage. But if you will find that from the moon, the 7th house has got some very benefic presence, so that hardly matters that whether a person is in an abusive marriage or in a difficult marriage, but the mindset of the person is going to be somehow happy-go-lucky or like kind of adjustable, accommodating even in the face of that difficult marriage. So because of that reason, moon is very important. We perceive the life, we understand the life basis our moon's dignity, and that is how we have to do the assessment. You have to see any specific area of life from the ascendant and how native perceive that specific area. For that, you have to study the same house via making moon as the first house or as the ascendant. Now, friends, when we talk about the D9 chart, so that's very simple. D9 chart, which is the 9th division of our Rashi chart. In Vedic astrology, there has been so much emphasis which has been attached to this D9 chart that no prediction should be made. You cannot come to any conclusion without looking at the planetary alignments in the D9 chart. So now comes the question that what all information we get from the Navamsha chart. So to begin with, Navamsha chart tells about the true dignity or the strength of the planets. So if the planets in your main ascendant chart are as a television set, so the kind of connection or the strong signal which you are receiving, that we see from the same planetary placement in the D9 chart. Second aspect of D9 chart is that it also tells about your matrimonial life. Now, friends, over here, these days we are living in those day and age where people are even living together without getting married. We have also there is also same-sex marriage as well. So wheresoever you are going to have a deep intimate connection or you are in that sort of committed relationship, so your D9 chart energy is definitely going to get active. Or you can also understand it in this way that what kind of attitude, approach you carry within the relationship, or what kind of energies you attract in the form of the relationship, your experiences within the relationship. Now, friends, the third and the most important aspect aspect of the D9 chart is that because it is the ninth division from the main ascending chart, so this chart also tells about the prospects of your luck, of your fortune. So all the accumulated karma from the past lifetimes, all the good deeds which you have done, and the way luck is going to be supporting you in your journey of life, so all of that information we also get to know from the D9 chart. Trust me friends, if I were to summarize the significance of all the houses in one word, so if third house is the efforts, fifth house is your talent, 11th house is progress or success, so ninth house is the original house which gives us hope apart from its religious significance. So D9 chart and the planetary alignment in the D9 chart can be understood in this way, that it actually tells about the way the divine and the universal intelligence is going to be helping you in your path in this lifetime. Now friends, what I have seen generally in my research is that people only give attention towards the placement of Jupiter in the D9 chart and Venus in the D9 chart. That in itself makes sense because here we are talking about marriage, which is the domain of Venus, marriage or relationship, and wisdom and luck, which is the Jupiter. But over and above that friends, because see, if in your main ascendant chart, moon's placement can give you this insight that where your mind is attached in the overall signification of the life. So same way, when we open the Virga charts or the divisional charts, which actually brings light to one specific area of life. So if D10 chart is the chart of your profession, D7 chart is the chart of your parenthood, of your concerns of the progeny and children. So the moon's placement in those specific Virga house will also become equally important, that the way you perceive or the way you specifically look at that specific area which is being represented by that chart. So let's say for example, here if we are talking about a chart which tells about your matrimonial life, which tells about the prospects of relationship. So what is going to be your approach, your attitude towards relationship, being put forth in a relationship, how you're going to behave, what is going to be your expectations, all of that we get to know from the moon's placement in the D9 chart. And same way friends, for someone for whom the ultimate objective in life is for gaining the true transcendental knowledge, wisdom, awareness, so even the placement of the moon in the D9 chart is going to tell about the way you perceive this specific aspiration of yours, your behavior, your conduct. And also friends, I would also say this thing, that even the kind of alignment which moon is going to be forming in the D9 chart, that is also going to tell you about the way your religious undertaking is going to manifest or is going to happen. So let's say for example, I will give my example chart first. Definitely I will be taking some of the celebrity charts as well. So now friends, in my case, if I were to say, so I have got a Cancer rising in my D9 chart. So the lord of the Cancer, so the heart and soul of the D9 chart, which is the first house lord, which is moon, it is conjunct with Ketu in the 7th house. So that in itself tells about that somehow my religious undertakings have always been unconsciously driven. I cannot give you any rational explanation that why in that specific area of life I got certainly attuned more towards this specific god, this specific religious habit of mine, or suddenly I started showing my affection and devotion towards this specific spiritual or religious practice. Trust me, it's my unconsciously like intuition you call it or whatsoever you call it, which has always guided me. And that is how, I don't know whether you or how you will see my life, but wheresoever I am and whatever I have become so far, everything is like I do not have any scientific or rational explanation to give for that. Trust me, I do proper consultation. And sometimes when I come across the charts of young people like 18, 19, 21, and I get so impressed when I read their mail that even at this young age, they are so sorted, they are so organized and streamlined regarding their past, whatsoever they have done so far, regarding what they are doing, and even their future forecast. But if I were to say this is how my life has been, because in my D9 chart my moon is conjunct with Ketu. So now whether you talk about from the spiritual perspective, whether you talk about the religious austerities perspective, and over and above that friends, because here we are talking about the Navamsha placement of the moon. So whatsoever your moon is going to be behaving, exerting its influence in your main ascendant chart, in the D9 chart you can also study this placement as what is going to be the like the primal instincts, the kind of motivation, or the kind of approach and attitude of hopefulness or degree and sense of optimism, divine spark. So that can also be studied just only looking at moon's placement in the D9 chart. And definitely it's not only the moon's house placement in the D9 chart, its zodiac sign, but also friends what kind of influence moon is in the D9 chart. So like the way I gave my real life example that I have got moon conjunct with Ketu in my D9 chart, and this is what my approach has been towards religious austerities. So same way, let's say for example, if you will find that in your D9 chart moon is conjunct with Mars, so all those people who have this much passion and enthusiasm for undertaking hardship in the path of defending their dharma, in the form of undertaking very strict vows, spiritual vows, and kind of austerities. Let's say for example, if you will find moon to be in the influence of Mercury, benefic influence of Jupiter, so taking interest in religious austerity, fasting, reading holy scriptures, preaching about it. So this is how you will find that in which way native is going to be approaching religion or the universal intelligence. Now let's say for example, if you will find that moon is conjunct with Saturn in the D9 chart, so depression and degree and sense of periods of isolation and depression might be a reason which might connect native towards the religion or might make him in the path of religious austerities. So that is how friends you have to give importance and attention towards the moon's placement in the D9 chart. And also friends, like just because this is going to be an exclusive video on discussing moon's placement in the D9 chart, but for all those audience who do not know about other important aspect of D9 chart, so this chart is so important that there are certain terminologies if that is getting formed in your case, so then definitely your moon is going to be gaining more prominence. So let's say for example, there is one term which we call as the Vargotam. So if you will find that your moon is placed in the same sign both in the ascendant chart and the D9 chart, so that means this planet is strong because it is Vargotam. Now different books, different astrologers have a different interpretation of it, but I specifically look at it in this way that somehow there is going to be a uniformity in the behavior of that planet. That planet is not gonna surprise you like in a way, because there are certain Navamsha degrees where planet can go from exaltation to debilitation or from debilitation to exaltation. So over here I'm not talking about any sort of surprise element. Here I'm talking about a uniformity in the behavior of the energies of that planet. Now let's say for example, there is one more term as Pushkara Navamsa. So I have also made an exclusive video on that subject as well, that there are certain degrees where if your planet is going to be placed in, so that means this planet is going to be placed in the Pushkara Navamsa, and all the signification of this planet is going to get nourished. And friends, also there is definitely going to be a vulnerability that if you will find that the planet is Ashtamsha, like I mean to say for example, if a planet is placed in the Aries but the same planet is placed in the Scorpio in the D9 chart, so it means it has gone 8th place in terms of the sign placement from the ascendant chart to the D9 chart, then this can create transformation or some sort of hidden karma or hidden kind of problems, karmic problems, obstacles. So that is a altogether different interpretation. I am very much sure that if you are watching this video, you must be in this state to do a correct interpretation of the D9 chart. But over here friends, I just want to bring light only towards moon's placement in the D9 chart, because we always give emphasis only to the Jupiter and Venus or 7th house, but we overlook the importance of the moon in the D9 chart. So okay friends, now from over here, first I'm going to give you my take on that if you will find moon to be placed in all different houses in the D9 chart, what could it indicate? And at the end we will try to take up some celebrity charts as a reference examples. So now friends, let's say for example, if you will find moon to be placed in the first house in your D9 chart. So now friends, this can be seen as a very good sign in this way, that because here we are talking about your emotions, your feelings, which can manifest in so many different ways. Like for someone, if for any specific person, it's just the matrimonial aspect which is that person's utmost important priority, or for a spiritual seeker as well. So somehow friends, here we are talking about that you will always be very much attuned towards your dharmic duty and responsibilities. So here we are not talking about that you are like somehow life vicissitudes of the life or the circumstances of the life have to give you a jolt in order to awaken up and be mindful of your spiritual and religious duties, or it could be the duty towards your spouse, towards your children and all of that. But let's say for example, if you will find moon to be placed in the first house, that in itself tells about conscious awareness towards your path in this lifetime. And definitely friends, there could be altogether different interpretation as well, that your partner could be very emotional, good looking, or you might be in a very emotionally romantic kind of matrimonial bond. But here we are only talking about from the perspective of your spiritual view towards the life, and how can we correlate it with moon's placement in the D9 chart. Now friends, moving ahead, now let's say for example, if you will find moon's placement in the second house of the D9 chart. So now friends, because this is a kind of a sensitive placement, because here it is bringing a lot of the artha energy, the energy of the tangible values of wealth and everything. So this can also tell about that in the path of the religious austerity, in the path of dharma, somehow the artha values, the possession will become very important for the native. Now friends, it all comes down to in which overall alignment moon is placed in the second house. Like let's say for example, if you will find that it's like moon is conjunct with Venus over here in the second house, or it is placed in the sign of the Venus. So overall, if the second house energy is giving this direction that it is creating an energy of wealth or a materialistic life, then definitely native might be very much driven towards that aspect in the matrimonial life. But let's say for example that moon is going to be placed in the second house, but it is in the benefic influence of sattvic and most importantly spiritual planets, like this could be Jupiter, this could be Ketu, then definitely friends, native is going to be more inclined towards possession of the transcendental knowledge, mastery over mantras, and making good use of the money for the charitable causes as well. And trust me, natives overall approach and overview towards the matrimonial life is going to be on these planes only, like how much value addition your partner is bringing in your life. Now friends, let's say for example, if you will find moon's placement in the third house of the D9 chart. So now friends, because third house is a kind of a karma house, so here we talk about your desires. So over here this placement can actually give rise to lot many desires even within the matrimonial life as well. So now friends, here we are just talking about, this is an exclusive chart of your matrimonial life. Here we are not talking about moon's placement in the ascendant chart, where you have like your complete life and a portion or a share, a different specific portion you share with all different areas of life. Here we are talking about an exclusive chart dedicated and given towards the matrimonial life and the spiritual path. So definitely friends, desires are definitely gonna play a pivotal role, and the kind of planetary presence you will find over here, that is going to give us this idea that how the dharma or the partner in the relationship is going to contribute towards all of your those desires. Now let's say for example, if you will find Mars, a dignified Mars in the third house, that can be seen as a very good sign that your partner is definitely going to add more it's going to be a pillar or a source of strength for you. Regarding like marriage could be a source of strength, courage, power or valor for you. And let's say for example, if you will find like planets like Jupiter or Ketu, so definitely, and if the overall chart is inclining towards the spiritual elevation, that you see life as a human birth which you have got in order to understand this whole principle and cycle of life and death, understand this universal intelligence. So if you will find these kind of sattvic and spiritual alignment over here, so desires and inclination might be more spiritually driven, and native might prioritize that aspect of the life. Now friends, if you will find moon to be placed in the 4th house, so now friends, beyond doubt, moon's placement in the 4th house in the D9 chart is a very good sign. That in itself tells about that whatsoever path you are going to prioritize. Now whether for you is the spiritual undertakings or religious austerities, path of devotion, knowledge, or a path devoted towards a happy matrimonial life, because 4th house is the house of happiness and contentment. So I would say that this placement in any way, if your overall chart, the D9 chart and the planetary alignment is in a strengthened state, and over and above that, moon is in a benefic presence in the 4th house, this is a sign of contentment and happiness. Now this could be in the matrimonial life, this could be a supporting partner who will help you fulfill your purpose, higher purpose in this lifetime. Now friends, when we talk about moon's placement in the 5th house of the D9 chart, now friends, it is a very blessed placement in this regard, that we cannot overlook this fact that whether we talk about the Vishnu Sthan, which are the Kendra angular houses, and the trine houses, which are the Lakshmi Sthana, these are benefic houses if your moon is going to be placed in. So 5th house is the house of your creativity, your inborn inherited talents. This is the house of your medha, your intelligence. So I would say friends that this placement can actually manifest very good results in any way. Like when we talk about regarding the spiritual aspect, this placement of moon in the 5th house can actually give you mastery over mantras, or like some sort of, this can also be connected with some sort of devotion to a specific god which you have inherited in this lifetime as well. So looking at the overall planetary presence over here can give us this indication, because for the Vaishnavism followers, for the Shaivism followers and the Shaktism followers, like you know that basis which planet and which gods are connected with that. So basis that you can get to know that what kind of specific god you are attracted right from your birth. And also friends, some sort of specific talents displacement can also manifest. And now friends, that also get verified if you will find over accentuated repetition of the 5th house. Like for example, in your main ascendant chart, your ascendant lord is placed in the 5th house. In the Karakamsa chart, 5th house is gaining prominence. In the Shashtiamsha chart, so overall that is definitely going to point towards this direction, that there is either there is either specific devotion to one god which has been inherited from the past many lifetimes, or some sort of specific unique talent which you possess. And also friends, in the matrimonial life as well, if the overall chart is indicative of a happy matrimonial life, so this just tells about a very romantic, very loving, nurturing, caring matrimonial life, that you prioritize, your mind prioritize, and you are like something like those emotions and feelings which straight away come from the heart. So that sort of pure unconditional love. Now friends, let's say for example, if we will find moon's placement in the D9 chart in the 6th house, so I will be honest, this is a kind of a placement of struggle, of hardship. Now again friends, when we talk about like all those saints and all those preachers and teachers and gurus, see, we just go to a guru's ashram just to get the blessing, just to get the mantras, but no one wants to actually imbibe and get the life of their guru, because if they have reached that stage of evolution, of spiritual elevation, so definitely they have gone through the personal hardship in their life as well. So that is what we get to know from this placement, which in itself tells about little bit kind of hardship and difficulties. Now friends, I always say this thing, that whenever we talk about the Dushtana Bhava, so there is always a difference between the 8th house and the 12th house. See, 8th house and 12th house problems and worries is something which is very difficult to understand or decode from a rational mind. But 6th house is something which creates problem, and the problem is always around us. This could be you are negligent or careless towards your duties, towards your partner, or this could be you are kind of very much negligent towards your spiritual practices and all of that. For saying this thing in the world, you might have a guru, you always boast about that, I have taken a mantra from a guru, but when we try to look into that, how much of the repetition of that mantra you do on daily basis, and how regular you are with your spiritual practices. So the placement of the moon in the 6th house can give us answers to all of that. So again friends, 6th house can actually act as a double-edged sword. It can actually work in your favor, that it could actually make you very disciplined, very organized, kind of very meticulous in any or every aspect of your life. This could be matrimonial life, this could be your spiritual austerity, or this could actually make you very negligent, very careless. So the planetary alignment overall, planetary presence in the 6th house where moon is placed is going to give us this indication. Now again friends, I have done discussion on this with many people. So many astrologers, we do not consider the aspects, additional aspects which like Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, these planets possess. So we do not take that or consider that in the D9 chart. So it's just the individual planetary congregation, planetary presence in the 6th house which is going to give this indication that is marriage is going to be a burden for you. This is what is going to be your approach, your attitude towards that, or are you going to be a person who is going to be evolving and becoming a stronger and better person, evolving to become a better and a bigger person only because of the matrimonial duties, matrimonial support, or because of the support of the dharma. Now friends, let's say for example, if you will find moon to be placed in the 7th house of your D9 chart. So now friends, let's first take up the matrimonial side of this alignment. So this placement in itself tells about that your emotions, your feelings are going to be very much inclined, attached towards your partner, like very much surrendered, devoted, very loving kind of partner. So you will behave like that within the relationship. Also friends, because it's like in whichsoever planetary presence you find any specific house, that in itself colors up the personality of the living signification of that house. So that can also tell about that your partner is going to be very emotional, very nurturing, very caring. So this is one way of looking at this placement. Now definitely basis the planetary presence we are going to find over here. Now if we will find moon to be severely afflicted because of other planetary presence, then this can also make you very hateful, very resentful towards your partner as well, and this is the only thought which will keep on surrounding you all the time. So there can be so many interpretation, but one thing is for sure, that marriage and your partner is going to be the center of your world. Now friends, when we talk about from the spiritual perspective, so when we talk about public, so over here different astrologers have different view. Like some astrologers attached 4th house as the house of the public or the masses, but in my own research, because I keep on coming across the charts of many politicians, many actors, big influencers and all of that, so I have seen more prominence coming out from the 7th house in terms of to judge your relationship with the world, which becomes very important for the celebrities. So now friends, definitely this placement in a way tell about, first of all, you will be very much receptive towards gaining wisdom or gaining practical learning from your public undertakings. Second thing is that, see, right now we are going through, at the time when I'm recording this video, we have this holy month of Shravan dedicated to Lord Shiva. So many people who undertake severe and very kind of strict pilgrimage in India, who are the Lord Shiva devotees. So you will find in India, like so many people and businessmen and all of that, they open up so many camps and they kind of fund so many food programs and all of that. So doing charity on a big scale, like this could be whether you talk about Hinduism, in Islam, even in the Sikhism, I see so many Sikh people, they are known for their generosity, charities and donation and service which they are known for. So a well placed moon in the 7th house, and if overall chart is indicating a very spiritually driven, religiously driven, service oriented person, so this could also tell about that native might also take interest in doing all these acts as well. Now friends, when we talk about moon's placement in the 8th house of the D9 chart, so definitely friends, beyond doubt, it is a sensitive alignment to begin with. Now if your moon in the D9 chart is placed over here, now again friends, not many astrologers gave emphasis to this placement, so but I have seen that I never overlook or forget to look at the moon's placement in the D9 chart. So you have to see that how much 8th house is gaining prominence in a person's life. Like, are you a kind of person in your main ascendant chart, your ascendant lord is placed in the 8th house, now over there as well, like if you are a Aries lagna, you are a Libra lagna, then even irrespective of your ascendant lord being placed in the 8th house, it is only going to gain strength. Rather, for the Sagittarius lagna, ascendant lord being in the 8th house is going to get more powerful. But if you will talk about the Scorpio rising, then your ascendant lord Mars in the 8th house is severely afflicted. So friends, over there you have to first see the role of the 8th house, and not only that, it's in the main ascendant chart, whatsoever sign is there in your 8th house, you have to see that sign individually, that sign in the D9 chart, and what is the planetary presence hovering around that sign, that house in the D9 chart. So now friends, if I were to summarize, this placement can actually give you a very intensely obsessive personality. The person is going to be very much driven, dedicated. Now again friends, this placement and its interpretation cannot be explained in one track. Like, there could be so many ways via which this placement can manifest results. Now this placement can actually create the energy of asceticism, interest in sannyas, in sadhana, in vairagya, and this placement can also make someone inheriting some sort of generational or family sort of weakness or curse. So again friends, with 8th house, there is no standalone prediction or assessment which can be made. So you have to see overall the role of 8th house in the life of the native, overall in which dignity 8th house is manifesting results, and if you will find benefic presence in the 8th house in the D9 chart, it is a very good sign for someone to become a true yogi. That is for sure. And if you will find planets to be afflicted over here, it can actually create some sort of eccentric, secretive personality, unusual, taboo desires and fantasy, which can actually cause damage in the matrimonial life of the person, and also in the spiritual discourse and path as well. It can create hurdles over there because of the nefarious secretive activities of the native. So again friends, I want to be very transparent over here. This is a very double-edged sword kind of placement which can have either way interpretation attached to it, but one thing is for sure, whether good or bad, it is going to be intense, it is going to be extreme. Now friends, talking about your moon's placement in the 9th house of the D9 chart. So definitely friends, beyond doubt, it is a very good placement. So I would say that I do not know that in which dignity moon was in the ascendant chart, or in the D9 chart moon is there in the 9th house, but in which zodiac sign it is placed in. But its mere placement in the 9th house of the D9 chart is a good sign that your mind is definitely going to be attached and attuned with the universal intelligence. Divine guidance will keep on putting you on the right path, protecting you, helping you progress in the life, more opportunities, success, hopefulness, optimism, supporting people, good sort of mentors. So for our overall well-being, a good successful life, this placement of the D9 chart in the ninth house, I only have good things to say for this specific placement. Now again friends, over and above that, all of that which I have mentioned is going to accentuate if you will find other supporting factors over here as well. Like for example, Jupiter is conjunct with Moon, or like Venus and benefic planets are conjunct with Moon. So even if the malefic planets are conjunct with Moon in the ninth house of the D9 chart, but if they are in strong dignity, like for example, if like Saturn is conjunct with Moon, but it is placed in the like Capricorn sign, it is a good sign. Aquarius sign, it is a good placement. So this is how you have to see that in which way the planet is imparting its influence, being conjunct with Moon in the ninth house of your D9 chart. Even from the matrimonial perspective as well friends, I have explained that so many times, like the way we say this thing that what kind of gains you're gonna make from the marriage. So all what you have to do is that check the placement of Venus in the main ascendant chart and the 11th house from it. So let's say for example, if in your main ascendant chart your Venus is placed in the 11th house, that in itself is a good sign that Venus is placed in the house of the wish fulfillment, and the 11th house from the 11th house, like 11th house from the 11th house is the 9th house. So that in itself is an indicator that marriage will awaken and you will gain luck through the marriage. So individually friends, this placement of Moon in the ninth house can be seen as a very good sign, whether from the matrimonial life's perspective or whether from the religious and spiritual austerities perspective. Now friends, let's say you will find Moon's placement in the 10th house. So now friends, it is a very good sign because 10th house is the it's the Artha house. It is the house of our duties and responsibilities. So native is definitely going to be very much attuned towards his higher purpose in the life. Like this is a kind of a placement where no matter what kind of experiences native is going within the marriage, it is not gonna facilitate native regarding fulfilling his duties and responsibilities. That is one thing. I forgot, there was this dialogue from the Better Call Saul. What was that? A man must provide, something like that. So yeah, I forgot, that was a dialogue from Gus. So yeah, so this is what this placement indicate, that native is definitely going to be very much duty oriented. Now also friends, like with this kind of alignment, if native is going to seriously undertake the religious and the spiritual austerities or spiritual vows, so like all those people who become the head of the spiritual institutions, or they influence people on a grand scale or level, or whatsoever work you are doing as a part of your religious and spiritual austerity, it is also going to help and positively impact and influence other people as well. So overall friends, this placement can be seen as positive in so many different light, like absorbing and receiving positive support from your partner within the matrimonial life in order to progress, or this could be that dharma or religion or the devotion towards your gods is definitely going to play a pivotal role in your success in the life. So overall this placement is a good sign. Now moving ahead friends, now let's say for example, if we will find Moon's placement in the 11th house of your D9 chart. So now friends, 11th house in the D9 chart has got a very different interpretation attached to it. Definitely this is the house of our wish fulfillment, but this is also the house of lot many desires, lot many wishes, and this is not how a typical marriage works out. Marriage is a institution of adjustments, accommodating each other's needs, and unconditionally falling in love, because too much of the accentuated 11th house in the D9 chart many times give rise to native putting his own desires and wishes first, and many times because there is a lot of kind of association, public association in the 11th house. So if you will find that like overall chart is indicative of that there is a lot of energy of Rahu and Venus, and the same thing is getting promised from the main ascendant chart as well. So then this can also give rise to lot many attraction towards other people and all of that. So overall friends, this placement needs to be understood with a proper pinch of salt. Now one thing is for sure, like I will first take up the case of the spiritual side of this placement. So now friends, with this kind of placement, if the overall chart is indicative a very religiously, spiritually driven personality, so with this kind of placement, it is a very good sign for gaining mastery over mantras. Like all those people who remain very much disciplined, and they also remain lucky that they get the support of the right guru in their life, right set of friends. Like see friends, many times people get confused. See, your actual friends are the third house. 11th house is the people who have a common goal with you. So third house could give you, like, you are an engineer, you might be friend with a athlete, with an actor, you're hanging out with anyone. But when we talk about 11th house, why we call it that? It is a house of the large group networking and all of that. And large group in a way means that a group with a common goal or purpose in mind. So that is the only reason that a common support act as a push factor for your success rather than distracting you from your goals. So this is a very good placement that friends and colleagues and association can also play a pivotal role in your spiritual growth, spiritual elevation. And I have already explained that it's a good sign for gaining mastery over any mantra, like the way we say in Hindi that you remain lucky कि आपने उस मंत्र को साध लिया. You make that specific mantra potent with the repetitive repetition of that mantra. So this is a good sign from the spiritual perspective. Now friends, from the matrimonial perspective, you have to take this placement with a pinch of salt, that how the overall alignment is contributing towards this placement. If you will find that the overall chart, whether the ascendant chart or the D9 chart is very rajasic, very material driven, so then this placement can actually give rise to lot many desires rather than adjusting within the matrimonial ties or matrimonial bonds. Native in itself will be surrounded and crowded by his own desires first, that it might create a rift in adjusting to the mutual needs of the partnership within the relationship. And yes friends, so this is how I can see this placement. It has got more benefic side attached to it only from the religious and spiritual perspective. Regarding the matrimonial perspective, you might have lot of expectations and which needs to be curbed or which need to be understood via taking into consideration other contributing factors. Now friends, when we talk about moon's placement in the 12th house of the D9 chart, so now friends, this is a kind of a little bit sensitive placement, because I will be very honest with you, when we talk from the religious and the spiritual perspective, so it is a very good sign for completely submerging in the spiritual trance. Like when we talk about all those typical psychics who goes in that trance and they come back from it with answers, with prophetic visions and all of that. So regarding anything to do with the religious and spiritual austerity, this placement can be seen as a very good sign. Now friends, when we talk about from the matrimonial life perspective, so over here friends, we have to take into consideration how the overall planetary alignment is contributing towards this, because trust me, this can also give rise to too many secrets or hiding thing, too much hidden energy within the matrimonial ties, or some sort of pending karma, some sort of debt which needs to be paid in this lifetime in the matrimonial bonds, or whatsoever your desires are, you're not able to manifest it at the right times in the right hours. Because friends, when we talk about the typical notion of the arranged marriage, so now the society is evolving. Over now, people who have their arranged marriage being fixed or being facilitated by their parents still give a chance to kids to meet each other, know each other, then give their final nod. But in the older times, it's like in certain communities, you will see your partner on the day of the marriage. And then what happens is that whatsoever your expectations were, the person did not turn out to be as per your liking, as per your expectations, things got hidden from you. So it can have lot many connotation attached to it. Or you might not be able to express yourself at the right time within the matrimonial important decision makings and all of that. So this placement needs to be taken with a pinch of salt. But from the religious and spiritual point of view, this can be seen as a very good placement. Now friends, lastly, before I will conclude this video, I just wanted to take up few reference charts and I wanted to show you the importance of the moon's placement in the D9 chart. So now friends, my ultimate filter always is that the birth detail has to be accurate rather than vaguely talking on any chart. So because I always keep on repeating certain specific charts only. So again, this time as you can see, this is the chart of Hollywood actress Angelina Jolie. So now friends, definitely she is a very talented actress and all of that. So if you will see in her Lagna chart, so she has got a Cancer rising. Venus is placed right over there in her first house, and the ascendant lord is placed in the 9th house, moon in the house of luck and fortune, conjunct with Jupiter and Mars, which is also the Yog Karaka for the Cancer Lagna people. Very, very good sign. And I have also mentioned this thing a lot many times that even in the 11th house, Sun is conjunct with Ketu. So that in itself is a sign of fame to the highest of the level. Saturn is placed in the 12th house. Lot of interest in humanitarianism, philanthropy, doing all these work and association internationally with so many NGOs, with the United Nations and all of that. Now friends, we will focus more on the moon's placement. So now friends, looking at the Lagna chart, we get to know that yes, this person's mind is very religiously driven, very fortunate, completely getting submerged in your craft, in your work, and always inspired, not only for your own life but also inspiring the world with your work, with your craft as well. Now the moment you are gonna open her D9 chart, so over here friends, if you will see, her moon is placed in the 5th house. And friends, there's one more distinctive thing about Angelina Jolie, that the way she has adopted so many children, so from so many different parts of the world. And as you know that in this industry, many times people do this thing in a fit of rage, or just to remain or get popular in the media and all of that, to stay in the news. But the way she has handled her parenthood, you can fairly see the significance coming strongly in her 5th house in the D9 chart. So her moon sign is Sagittarius, and it is because over here in this video we emphasize more on the house placement. So moon is placed in the 5th house, so that in itself tells about that drive, talents, some sort of past life acquired talents, and emotions are strongly attached with the area of the children, progeny, and art and creativity. Now friends, next chart is of the chart of Barack Obama. So as you can see in his chart, in the main ascendant chart, definitely friends, his moon is exalted in the 5th house. So that is a very good sign, because 5th house is the house of honor, dignity, and your academics and everything. So over here we get to know that moon is in a very sorted way functioning in the life of Barack Obama. Like the current president, all the world and people keep on talking about Joe Biden, that he has dementia. He start talking about something, and by the time he reached the end of the sentence, he already forgot what he was saying before. So if you will see in Barack Obama's case, you can fairly see a strong moon, emotions, fixity in your thoughts. Now the moment you're going to open Barack Obama's D9 chart, you will find that moon is placed in the 9th house. So again friends, showing hope to the world, making world a better place. So this is what the vision of this person has been. And definitely moon sign is in the Navamsha Aries, that also makes the person very driven, very competitive as well. And lastly friends, because I wanted to showcase some sort of hidden energy or energy of scandal as well. So because the same portal from where I was fetching the birth details, I got the chart of Kim Kardashian as well. So as you can see over here friends, in her chart, her rising sign in the main ascendant chart is Scorpio. Mars is present over there right in the 1st house. Now friends, the thing which you have to focus over here is that in her 10th house, Venus is placed. So that in itself tells about that yes, her undertaking is very much colored with the energy of Venus. Mars in the 1st house is in itself making her bold, and because Mars is placed in the Scorpio, so sexuality and all of that scandals comes naturally to her. And not only that friends, if you will see her 10th house lord, which is planet Sun, it is debilitated in the 12th house. So sex scandals, always creating a mystery, or all these activities just to stay in the news. And lastly friends, in her case, her moon is placed in the 5th house. Moon is kind of, see, moon is receiving aspect from Jupiter and Saturn from the 11th house, but in a way it is giving rise to a Kemdrum yoga. So moon is being isolated in the 5th house. So, and now friends, if you will open her D9 chart, so moon has gone to the 8th house. So this is how the mind is always functioning, running towards secrecy, creating scandals, unpredictable breakthrough, revelation, to stay in the news. You can freely see all that combination coming in her D9 chart, moon's placement as well. So this is something, friends, which I wanted to say as a part of my inputs. Like the way I already mentioned this thing at the beginning of this video, that please feel free to supplement content of this video or contradict me or share your own experiences, or whether you have given this much attention, importance to moon's placement in the D9 chart before or not. So this is something, friends, which I wanted to say as a part of my inputs. For furthermore updates and notifications on the divine science of Vedic astrology, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and like my Facebook page. Dhanyavad.